thank you. Thank you for staying here despite the rain. Thank you for showing that we have fire in our bellies that cannot be put out by the rain. We are here today because of you. Because we want to make Singapore a better place for every one of us. So thank you for showing that you are also here for us. Thank you. Dear Singaporeans, everywhere we go, we hear complaints about cost of living. There are many factors that cause the rising. Thank you. There are many factors contributing to our cost of living, some of which is controllable. That includes GST, subsidies from the government, which is reduced. When they reduce subsidies to the university, our university fees go up. When they reduce subsidies to the hospitals, our medical bills go up. Another important contributor is property price. When property price increase, when rents increase, all business costs increase. These are direct contributions to the cost of living that is controllable by the government. Of course, there are also factors that are uncontrollable. For example, the global oil prices, commodities, and food prices. So the best way to help us cope is to make sure that our wages grow faster than the cost of living. And the biggest factor is supply of labor. Basic economics tells us that when the supply goes up, everything else being equal, the price of labor decreases. Now, the Manpower Minister, Gan Kim Yong, the MP for Choa Chu Kang, tries to tell us that growth is the more important factor, not the supply of labor. To justify, he gave a couple of examples. He said that in 2007 and 2008, when the number of foreign workers increased, wages went up. But that is not true. In 2008, real wages decreased. He also said that in 2009, when foreigners left, our wages went down. But in 2009, our population went up by 150,000. If those are not foreign workers, do we have 150,000 babies? Evidence point to the fact that every time the growth rate of our population goes up, the growth rate of our wages decreases. They move in opposite directions in all 5 years from 2005 to 2009. This shows that both economic growth and supplies are both important factors. We need to be more committed to growing the wages of Singaporeans, and that means we need to limit the supply of labor, especially to the low and middle income level jobs. This is why NSP is pushing for a quota on foreign workers for all jobs paying under $4,000 a month. Currently, we have no quota for jobs paying $2,008 and above. Our proposals will give Singaporeans a better chance of securing jobs paying up to $4,000, while jobs paying above that will continue to be open to global competition, and higher quotas will be given to jobs that Singaporeans do not want to take up. A greater effort must also be made to enforce our employment rules. During my stint as a HR manager, I interviewed many job applicants. who told me about the abuses in their companies. They were not paid more than 2005, or that was the threshold then. But the companies declared their salary as 2005 so that they can get unlimited employment passes. And I also have many foreign applicants who volunteered to give back part of their salaries. Such practices are apparently widespread. Our enforcement of our employment rules is dismal. We're not against the employment of foreigners. They make important contributions to our economy too. But we have to take care of our own citizens first. Isn't that always the first priority of any government? Do we expect our citizens to be loyal and defend the country in times of crisis? Is that not fair, then, that citizenship must have its privileges? There is a level of anger against foreigners in Singapore. I encounter it frequently. This was not always the case, because Singapore has a short history, and our grandparents were mostly immigrants too. Why then this sudden anger? Why the sudden xenophobia? It is because the PAP government brought in too many, too fast, without adequate planning and preparation. From 2005 to 2010, our population increased by 910,000 without a corresponding increase in our infrastructure. So we have overcrowding in our trains, in our buses, in our polyclinics, and our shopping malls. Our home prices rose alarmingly because supply is lagging so far behind demand. And all around us, we suddenly see a lot more foreigners than we've been used to, with their own language, culture, and living habits. And Singaporeans have to watch in apprehension as more and more jobs were taken up by foreigners. And the fear that we will be replaced in our own homeland. We fear that we will be replaced because employers prefer cheaper foreign workers with no national service commitments and no employer CPF contributions. And because our fears and insecurities could not be vented on the government, they were manifested as anger against a target that is nearer and more visible, the foreigners. If xenophobia is defined as an unreasonable fear of foreigners, then this is not xenophobia, for it is a reasonable fear, but directed at the wrong party. Is it unreasonable for locals to expect some form of protection from our own government, considering that most other countries practice protection from their locals in terms of employment? No, it is not unreasonable. Okay, let us recognize why such negative feelings exist and address it instead of dismissing it as xenophobia. The PAP has gave the election promise that they will cap the number of foreign workers. Are they sincere? Minister Gan tried to tell us that growth is more important. The Minister for Trade and Industry just yesterday said that the cap poses real dilemma and that we will lose huge growth opportunities. I don't think they are really committed to that promise. The whole point of pursuing economic growth is to improve Singaporeans' quality of life. But in the past 10 years, while our GDP growth grew by 87%, our wages grew by 14%. The bulk of the benefits of our GDP growth did not go to ordinary Singaporeans. Instead, when the population increased by 26%, the quality of our life deteriorated in areas like transport and living space. This growth is meaningless. In contrast, our minister's salary went up by 39%. This is why NSP proposes that ministerial salaries must be pegged to median salary. If our wages goes up, then their wages go up. Our political leaders keep talking about wage cost. I can understand it when businessmen talk about wage cost because they are profit-oriented. But how can politicians regard wages as cost? It is our livelihood. It is what we use to pay our bills and support our family. It is not just a component of business cost. There are many components to business cost, of which rent is a major component. Why is it acceptable for rent to increase but not wages? We need to get them to adjust their priorities. We need to commit to a Singaporean first policy for employment. Let the country demonstrate its loyalty to Singaporeans, for only then can the country demand loyalty from Singaporeans. So on the 7th of May, vote for NSP to bring your voice into Parliament. I will next give a short speech in Mandarin. 各位新加坡的同胞们，大家晚上好。今天我站在这个讲台上，不是一个轻率的决定。在新加坡，加入反对党对任何人来说都不是一个容易的决定。这不是一个健康的现象。国家兴亡，匹夫有责。新加坡的前途，我们的前途，不只是人民行动党的责任，也是你跟我的责任。加入反对党不是为了反对，不是为了阻碍，而是希望国家更茁壮、更稳健，希望国家的政策能够在更多的方面加以考量，对于不同见解的声音能够更加的容纳。近年来，人民行动党为了追求经济增长，大量引进外来员工，对我们的仓皇与不安轻率以对。为什么仓皇？因为担心饭碗不保，担心雇主会为了降低成本，选择不必缴交公积金、薪水低的外劳，担心会在自己的国家里被外国人取代。为什么不安？因为生活中突然多出许多外国人，带来陌生的语言和生活习惯。这样的反应是可以理解的。但是人民行动党却没有正视，也没有处理这个问题。为了经济利益，人民行动党排除异议，执意建了2个赌场。可是君子爱财，取之有道，这种经济发展不是我们乐意见到的模式。为了提供孩子一个良好的生活环境，为了对孩子的期许，孟母尚且3000，我们却打开大门，欢迎2间赌场住进我们家里。为什么会下这步棋？这是不是代表人民行动党 已经江郎才尽。有句话说，富不过3代，人民行动党到今天也已经到了3代。
让他们等待。
为什么会有这种说法？因为旧日成功的因素，如果紧紧的抓牢，不随着环境的改变而改变，反而会成为将来的枷锁。我们必须通过教育，培养能够创新、能够突破的本地人才，让更多的人能制造更高的经济价值，这种经济成长才能根本的改善生活。我们的高压教育不能够鼓励独立思考，我们必须给学生们更多空间来质疑、来探讨。盲从并不能使我们更上一层楼，而教育与学习也不是踏出校园就停止的，社会教育也是很重要的一环。一个多元化的政治环境，一个多元化的国会，能带来更多辩论，而通过更激烈的辩论，不仅能够促使各个政党进步，同时也可以让国民接触更多不同的观点和意见，增强见解，增加思考。如果人民行动党继续认为资讯必须掌控，媒体必须掌控，反对的声音必须消音，那么就无法找到根本的办法。我们的社会贫富越来越悬殊，生活费不断高涨，水电费、物价、租金、伙食、ERP 电子收费、用车证、医药费、消费税，样样涨。你的薪水有涨吗？为什么 PAP 可以突然保证消费税5年不涨？没错，因为有反对党，因为有大选，因为有压力。这个故事告诉我们要继续施压，这种机会5年只有一次，要好好把握。只有让他们失去更多的议席，他们才会更努力为你解决问题。自己要什么，要自己争取。只会害怕，就什么都得不到。所以5月7日，希望你们投国民团结党一票，把你的声音带入国会。谢谢。